Right, 27 August 2024, and as usual, at exactly 5 o'clock on the dot, I'll be giving you my updates on the trending news of the day. And today I've got a very important story. What is happening in ZANU-PF is very, very interesting. And I mentioned this before the SADC, that this is going to be a critical period in Zimbabwean politics. And what is going to happen within the next few weeks is going to be shocking, leading up to the ZANU-PF Annual People's Conference. And today I want to start with Christopher Mutsvangwa. Now, Christopher Mutsvangwa is the spokesperson for ZANU-PF and is also one of the people that have said they want to be the president of ZANU-PF and they want to be the president of the country, president of Zimbabwe. Mutsvangwa has said he is the most senior person in ZANU-PF, and he has made all these claims during public interviews. So Mutsvangwa is the only person in ZANU-PF that has been openly speaking about the succession that is taking place in ZANU-PF right now as we enter the post-Mnangagwa era. Mnangagwa is in his last term, although there are some people who are trying to make Mnangagwa stay longer. And this has happened this weekend with the call for the amendment of the Zimbabwe Constitution so that Mnangagwa can either extend the duration of his current term or extend into a third term or remove term limits altogether. So those are the proposals that are put on the table this week by ZANU-PF Harare province. And what Christopher Mutsvangwa has said today is that this is not the official position of ZANU-PF. There is no discussion that has taken place in the politburo that Mnangagwa's term should be extended. He has said that ZANU-PF is a democratic party and they would not break the constitution for an individual. So these are very powerful words coming from Christopher Mutsvangwa. You can go and check out that statement in the Newsday newspaper, Mnangagwa's newspaper. So it's not a fake story. It is real, and it is inside Mnangagwa's newspaper, which is the Newsday newspaper, a daily newspaper which is circulating quite widely in Harare. I just want to mention that in the same article, it is mentioned by the Zimbabwe Democracy Institute that the Zimbabwe military will eventually have to intervene in the current succession battle in ZANU-PF. The final decision will be made from military structures. So when people talk of military, I think they don't understand who exactly is in the military of Zimbabwe. And I always tell people that there are two groups in the Zimbabwe military. That is the original layer at the top. But there is another layer that is coming, professional officers that are coming up from the ranks that want to professionalize the army. And there is a conflict between those two groups of military. And eventually, when such decisions are made, such as amending the constitution, you're going to see that the younger military guys, the younger military officers are going to play a key role. So keep watching what happens. There is going to be another succession that is going to take place besides the one that is taking place at Mnangagwa's level. There is another succession that is taking place within the military. And that is going to determine what happens. Are they going to allow Mnangagwa to just change the constitution so that he becomes a third-term president, or someone is going to step in and act? So these are the first shots fired by Christopher Mutsvangwa. He has said it, that Mnangagwa cannot go for a third term because this has not been discussed at politburo level. It would be a violation of the constitution for Mnangagwa to go for a third term because there are certain steps that are required, including the fact that the current president cannot benefit from the amendments. So whatever they do, it will be unconstitutional. And that means they'll have to break the law and other people will have to step in. So this is a very important statement by Christopher Mutsvangwa. No discussion at ZANU-PF level and rejecting totally the idea that Mnangagwa can go for a third term. And Mnangagwa himself has said he's not going for a third term. So let's see what happens as they go towards their annual conference. ZANU-PF is a very strange party. And there are two main actors right now. Christopher Mutsvangwa here and The man that I really think is next in line, who is General Chiwenga. General Chiwenga is a man that does not talk about succession. So you've never heard General Chiwenga talking about succession. He has said nothing about it, but he's making a big impact on this whole succession battle. So let's see who comes out on top. And as I said, right now, the next person that will be targeted is the next person that is next in line. When you see someone who's just about to leave, like Mnangagwa, people are going to leave him alone. But the next person who they think is going to come, that is the person that is going to be in for an attack. And let's see how he responds to everything that is happening around him. I can see Christopher Mutsvangwa is doing a lot. I do not know if he can become the president of Zimbabwe. I've listened to him talking, and he says he's done a lot. He's brought a lot of investors into Zimbabwe. I am just a bit concerned that Christopher Mutsvangwa doesn't seem to be able to command the respect of the army. I don't think Christopher Mutsvangwa can command the respect of the army. And I also don't think Christopher Mutsvangwa has a constituency within the party. And I don't think he's able to build a team. So those are key factors that you need if you want to create a presidency or a campaign for a presidency. You should be able to command the army, you should be able to create a team, and you should be able to gain respect within the party. I don't think he's able to do so. He has been unable to keep his job within ZANU-PF and within the government. He has been fired a number of times, even by Mnangagwa. So let's see what happens, and let's see if his word is meaningful, or if it means anything, or if he's just talking. Just because he's in front of the newspapers or the cameras, he's able to talk. Is he able to make an impact or a dent on the events that are just about to take place in ZANU-PF? There is a lot that is about to take place right now in Zimbabwe. And a lot of actors are appearing. Every day, there's a new actor that is coming. So don't be surprised if today you end the day with a new actor coming up, making their own statements about what is going to happen. Because this is a wide open game. This is the post-Mnangagwa era. And the last 3 years of Mnangagwa's presidency, he's just going to be lame duck. He's just going to be a president who's sitting there while people fight each other for his position. So that is what is going to happen. And these next 3 months are critical. When we come from Bulawayo, the ZANU-PF guys finish their Congress in Bulawayo, there will be a bit of clarity on who is on top. And all this joking is going to take place before that time, before the Congress in Bulawayo. So I think I've covered that. Christopher Mutsvangwa saying there is no discussion on Mnangagwa going for a third term, and there's no official position of ZANU-PF to say Mnangagwa can change the constitution. And those people that are talking about that are just expressing their own opinions, but it's not going to happen. It's not the official position of ZANU-PF. Now, let me quickly go through some news, what has been happening around our country of Zimbabwe. And I want to start with a crazy proposition that has been put on the table. So this is shocking. This guy here is Chris Takura Tande of Time Bank. I've never seen such a proposal like what this guy has put in place. Time Bank was closed and it opened in 2022. They are currently doing some corporate banking. And they've made a proposal that they will raise $35 billion US and use that $35 billion to lend to the Zimbabwe government. However, their proposal is shocking to me because they are saying they want to use 20 billion to repay foreign debt. They want to use about 7 billion to repay for improvements at the farms of the former commercial farmers, and 3.5 billion for other commercial farmers like who were post-1980, and 1 billion to repay people who lost their money during the hyperinflation era. My concern about the proposal for Time Bank is that they don't understand the infrastructural requirements of the country. If I was Time Bank, I would propose a high-speed rail. I would use the 35 billion to build rail and to fix all the things that we've been talking about, fix the tourism, fix the infrastructure of the country. I don't think paying 20 billion and paying 3.5 billion, it makes any sense. And I would not accept such a proposal myself. I see this as an attempt to just take out money out of the country. The priorities are wrong here. So check out every single newspaper is carrying this story. 35 billion. That is they've proposed to gather 35 billion from different sources and then use it for paying debt. Bad idea. I would not do it. I think right now, everyone is looking at high-speed rail. There's currently, or there was a conference last week on rail in South Africa, and every single country in Africa is looking at high-speed rail, connecting Bulawayo to Harare 2 hours, Bulawayo to Victoria Falls 3.5 hours, Bulawayo to Gokwe, Bulawayo to Mtare, Harare to Lusaka. Those are the kind of things that you want to do. And once your economy is so connected, money will start flowing, and 35 billion is nothing. Zimbabwe can easily raise 35 billion through activities, especially tourism. In Zimbabwe, you can easily get 10 billion from tourism a year, which means within 3-4 years, you would have raised that 35 billion. But you need high-speed rail first, and you also need metro rail. You need our cities to be smart, clean, and you want those cities like Anamon, Hamden, Victoria Falls City, millions of people in those cities, planned cities, not these ideas of paying debt. Those are old ideas. You must apply capital properly. And I think guys like Chris Takura Tande, they need to understand the way things are going. Look at countries like Tanzania, look at Senegal, look at what is happening in Ghana. Those countries where high-speed rail has been put in place, it's doing very, very well. And the countries are starting to develop. And I think that you can go and check out that story, a very interesting 35 billion loan proposal. Then let's quickly go to other stories. And I want to start here with what has happened to this woman here. This is a Zimbabwean woman. She has been killed in South Africa by a farmer, a white farmer. She was collecting food with her husband. And she got killed, and then they fed her body to the pigs. This story is trending in South Africa right now. There were destitute Zimbabweans who were just walking around at a farm in Limpopo. So a very sad situation that is taking place. She's 35 years old, and Lokadia Ndlovu and her friend Maria Mahato, who is 45 years old. So her husband was badly injured, but he managed to escape and made a report. A Zimbabwean was also arrested for participating in this murder, 45-year-old William Musoro, and the farm owner, Zakaria Olivia, and employee Adrian Divet, who is 19 years old. So very sad situation that has happened in South Africa, and trending story, you can check it out over there in the South African press. However, I want to take you through to rail again. The NRZ has made a statement regarding the properties that have been trending on social media, UK-based properties, which are said to be owned by the NRZ in London or in UK. So the good thing is that I have a bit of knowledge about this thing. I did work for the NRZ pension fund in 2006 before I left Zimbabwe. That was my last job. And that was in Bulawayo, right? So I was waiting for my payments to come out, and I did work there. And I do know that these properties exist, but what people have been saying is that NRZ doesn't know how many properties they've got. And I think this is untrue. So the NRZ has issued a statement to say they do not have any properties outside of Zimbabwe. All the properties that they have been sold. However, the NRZ pension fund does have properties overseas. And those are some of the properties that you see listed on various social media platforms. And I'm going to show you that statement. I'm going to put it on Gambakwe.com within a few, maybe 10 to 20 minutes. But as I said, I worked for the NRZ pension fund. And at that time, one of the most difficult things for me was to look at the pay slips of the pensioners, because I was doing the payroll for those guys, for the NRZ pension fund. And someone would go from Plant and come to Bulawayo to collect a $5 pension, or they will go from Mutare to come to Bulawayo to collect a pension that was smaller than the bus fare. Very sad situation that happens in Zimbabwe in terms of pensions. So the NRZ pension fund has got all those properties, but it is said that the money is not enough. There is, however, a lot of scope for investment, especially for these pension funds. For example, my understanding is that the NRZ pension fund also owns buildings in Harare, and they have got such big buildings. I think like Anatrust Towers and all that. I'm not sure if they still own those properties. Harare has got quite a number of massive properties that are owned by various pension funds. And also, if you look at the scope of what I'm talking about, the planned cities, especially in Victoria Falls is going to be a big center for Zimbabwe, because what is going to happen is, because so many people come to Zimbabwe, they always start at the Victoria Falls. And it's important for a pension fund to see how they can then take advantage of that situation, create a massive center or a hotel, or even a resort. Those are some of the things that people need to think about. So these are the statements that have been issued here. Clarification on social media. This is NRZ, but specifically talking about the NRZ pension fund, they indeed do have these properties overseas. I remember guys going over there to check them out during the time when I was working over there at the NRZ pension fund, there by Bulawayo. So let's see what else is trending. If you look at the South African press, you will see that there is a young man called Hamilton Ndlovu. He is in the press for a very bad, corrupt situation that happened, where he bought multiple cars using money that was obtained corruptly. So Hamilton Ndlovu's cars were taken away. They were seized because they were considered to be the proceeds of crime. So today, there is a report in the Sowetan newspaper that these vehicles, high-end vehicles that he bought, many of them, are going to be auctioned, and they estimate that they're going to recover 7 million rands from this auction of these cars. So that's a trending story in South Africa. You can go and check it out. And then in the UK, Zimbabwean-born Mara Makunura has become a mayor of a city in the UK. So she is being celebrated for all that she is doing over there. She is expected to do a good job and represent Zimbabweans, originally from Chinhoyi. That is where she was born. And she is the mayor of Rushmoor for 2004 to 2005. Rushmoor, I do not know whether Rushmoor is a city or a council or a small place, but she is being celebrated for being appointed or being elected mayor of Rushmoor. That is Mara Makunura of Chinhoyi. That's where she was originally from. I now want to end with a very sad story. And this sad story is betting, sports betting. So guys, sports betting is a problem, but it's becoming a big problem here in South Africa. Capitec Bank has come out and said that sports betting is becoming a massive problem in South Africa. And they see that because Capitec Bank is now the third biggest bank in South Africa. If I'm not mistaken, second or third biggest bank. And what they're seeing is people spending lots of time on sports betting, lots of money on sports betting. And also the big companies that do sports betting here are making massive profits. 500 million rands that has been made by sports betting companies like Betway, like Hollywood Bets. And there's a new company here called Super Sports Bets. These people spend days and days on online betting, and they spend a lot of money on online betting. And they say that a conversation needs to start in South Africa on sports betting. These guys are the biggest advertisers. They spend a lot of money on advertising. In fact, Betway has now started sponsoring the PSL here in South Africa. So because of internet penetration, people have started to do a lot of this sports betting, and it's affecting people mentally, and also in terms of you can't rely on betting. You must actually have a strategy for your life. You can't say, I'm going to bet and then win. And I've seen that in Harare, this is also a big problem. So sports betting, a big problem in South Africa, and the biggest bank calling for a conversation on how to deal with sports betting here in South Africa. So I think we covered a lot here. Let's recap. And when we recap, we're talking about what Christopher Mutsvangwa has said. Christopher Mutsvangwa has said there is no discussion on Mnangagwa going for a third term. It's not the official position of the party. And the party is democratic. The politiburo has not discussed that Mnangagwa can go for a third term. And therefore, people who are saying Mnangagwa can go for a third term are just expressing their own opinions. It's not going to happen. Mnangagwa will not be allowed to go for a third term. Mnangagwa is gone. Mnangagwa is finished. This is his last term in office. That is what Christopher Mutsvangwa is saying. So let's see if he succeeds in these statements that he's making, Christopher Mutsvangwa, and what are the repercussions. And also, as I said, everyone is looking at General Chiwenga. What is his next move? What is he going to do next? Because if he does not move, they are going to move on him, and the movement is going to be swift and it's going to be decisive. So let's see what happens with General Chiwenga regarding this very topic of a third term from Mnangagwa. And then before I forget, on Thursday, there'll be a judgment on Timber and the 77 CCC activists. The case of the state was closed yesterday. And during the closure of this state's case, the lawyers of the opposition or the defense argued that saying Chamisa Woye is not a statement of violence. So that is the statement that is being used. That when the police went, they saw Timber peeping through the gate, shouting Chamisa Woye. And they said that's not a statement of violence or incitement of violence. So there's going to be a judgment on Thursday. Let's see what happens over there. And they're also saying the case must be dismissed because just being present at the time when there was a gathering does not mean you're part of the people who are planning violence. It's not illegal to sit in the gathering. So I hope that by Thursday, these guys will be acquitted and they'll come out. There's no news on Namataya Kwekwedza. There's no news on Bishop Nyamakanga and Jacob Ngarivumi. I do not have information for you, but that is what I have so far. These guys have been in jail now for over 3 weeks, and the other guys have been in jail now for over 65 days. So a very sad situation. In fact, it's over 60 days, over 70 days now that they've been in jail. So let's look if there are any comments here. Mkoma Elias says, you are a ZANU-PF person and you support Chiwenga and you cannot help Zimbabweans' ideas. You're not real. Guys, forget about political parties. There will be no political party that is going to take you anywhere. What is going to take us forward as Zimbabweans is a 50-year strategy. It's high-speed rail. It's planned cities and a military city. Those things that I'm talking about on a daily basis. There is no political party that is going to help you. In 10 years' time, you're going to be back here thinking about political parties. But if we come together and have a strategy, we'll do very, very well. And then Koma Eva says, Chiwenga is not in ZANU-PF structures, so it will be difficult for him to win at the Congress. It's possible. But I don't think Chiwenga is going to challenge Mnangagwa. So that doesn't come into play. And then Mkoma, this what becomes of the case of the murdered pastor? Yes, Pastor Tafumane Messiah. That case is dead. We're still awaiting a response from the police. But as I said, this is no longer the police. The people that are involved, they know what's happening to themselves. So leave it. You will see the result. Something is happening. Something big is happening to the guys who are involved in this case. And I don't want to say a lot right now. Gambakwe, I think you're failing to understand ZANU-PF politics. Just don't focus too much on media. It is when things happen in ZANU-PF that you will know, like everyone else. I don't know if I have to talk about what's happening. I run a media house, not a quiet house. Ngoma TJ says, if you who is saying been talking about the third term and nobody else, no, everyone has been talking about the third term. There has been a proposal to extend Mnangagwa's term to the third term, either through extending the one term to more than 5 years, or adding a third term, or making sure that there are no term limits. You can go and check it out. It's a proposal from Harare province of ZANU-PF. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put for you a video of the actual proposal later on today. I'll put it on one of our platforms so you can see what I'm talking about. They have made the proposal and it's going to be put at the ZANU-PF Congress. Every single ZANU-PF province has voted for Mnangagwa to go for a third term. There is no single ZANU-PF structure that is not voted for Mnangagwa to go for a third term. So what Mutsvangwa is saying here is a break from every other structure. He is saying something that is opposite to what every structure in ZANU-PF is saying. It's a challenge on Mnangagwa to say, Mnangagwa, you cannot do this. And that is very, very interesting. Right. I think this is all I have for today. Let me bring this to an end. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll be back here tonight as we continue to look at all the important developments. And also, I want to expand a bit more on the 50-year strategy. This thing is going to be a game changer. 50-year strategy for Zimbabwe, high-speed rail, planned cities, and a tourism-based economy. That is the future of our country. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And please watch all the videos we did last night about Hopo Chingono. Chingono will be live tomorrow at Boss Salani's Twitter. Thank you very much, everyone. And